The L Word Generation Q Season 3 is fast approaching. The show is coming back on November 18th, and according to one of my subscribers who ran into a cast member from Gen Q last week, the cast and crew were very surprised by the fact that the show was coming back on November 18th because they didn't know, and it was kind of sprung on them because when they found out, they weren't even halfway through filming. Today, we're going to go over the possibility of a big Bette and Tina show-stopping moment, possible proposal from Dani and Gigi, and all the other things that I want to see in season 3 of Gen Q. So let's get right into it. So last season I did a season 2 version of this, my hopes and dreams for season 2. So without further ado, let's get on to my top 12 bit random wish lists, hopes, dreams for the L Word Generation Q season 2. So this is the season 3 version of that video, and I want to hear all of you guys' thoughts in the comments, what you want to see. We're going to go through the list kind of paired because there's no point talking about Bette and then talking about Tina or Dani and Gigi separately when so much of what's going on is contained like between both characters. For Bette and Tina, I mean, I think we all know that we're going to be getting something this season, but what is it going to be? I have long been of the opinion that this is all going somewhere. I just don't think that Laurel Holloman would return to just return. It doesn't make any sense to just have this co-parenting storyline. I think that they're not going to go straight into season 3 and be like, boom, they're back together, done and dusted, because we know Rosie is in at least a few episodes in the beginning, and she does have 2 more to film, so that seems to be 2 more in the latter half of the season. I'm sure this season will maybe be a bit of a reminiscence of season 4, where we're kind of like building towards season 5, and I am thinking it would be pretty good if we got like a big declaration or something like that, because that was what Bette did for the whole Jody thing, and even though that didn't work out too well, the whole sign stealing and Bette driving up on the tractor and stuff, like those are some great moments from the show, and also had that fun element of Bette, Alice and Shane and the sign. And that's just one more thing to mention too, how I really hope for this season that it just is so much more fun and just lightheartedness.
I am so confused. Are you confused? Oh, I'm very confused. She's a dyke. I don't know. She doesn't know she's a dyke.
I mean, we all have enough serious shit going on in the world that I'd love to see just that lightheartedness and joking and more that core factor of like, these people are all friends. I really didn't like last season how the group was kind of ostracizing Gigi and like pushing her out, and then Dani and Bette like had an argument. So I'd prefer, everybody doesn't have to be like best friends, but I do, that's what I loved about the original L Word, was like all the friendship and stuff. Oh baby, this song is copyrighted. Oh baby, this song is copyrighted. So I hope with Bette and Tina that we are going somewhere. I do think that, and I've thought that since the beginning. I know there's people who don't think that and are really the other way, but I do think that especially Jennifer Beals and Laurel Holloman, like they know their audience, and I just don't think that they would go to all this trouble for nothing. So we'll definitely be seeing what happens there. For the characters aside from that, I'd just love to see Tina way more with the group. I'm not necessarily like really bothered about, you know, fleshing out the relationship between her and Carrie or like other stuff, but I would also like to know some things about what has gone on in the between the OG and Gen Q, because I think that they're really missing a trick by not doing like a flashback or two. We saw one in season 3 where Alice and Nat, like the night they met, and Gigi showed up, or the night they went on a first date, but they are really missing a trick here by not having flashbacks. I mean, can you imagine, picture this, season 3, the cold open of each episode is like a flashback to the in-between of the OG and Gen Q, and it could all be building to something. Like we could be seeing, I don't know, the beginning of the season, every episode you get like an Alice flashback, a Shane flashback, a Bette and Tina flashback, and maybe you have like a couple of them and it's like Bette and Tina, what happens with the divorce, and they don't have to be, you know, like 20-minute things, but just even like those 2 or 3 minutes, people would love that shit. I definitely would anyway, so I wish they would do something like that. But I'm going off on a couple of tangents here. But bottom line is, I really think we're going somewhere with Bette and Tina. I just don't think that they can really draw this out too much longer. It's a TV show. It has to be a slow burn. They have to kind of bring this thing out, because I know people say all the time that they would watch no matter what, but it would get boring really fast. So they have to make it, you know, interesting. I do want Tina in with the OGs and stuff like that. I'm not too bothered about seeing a lot of these co-parenting storylines. I'd rather see Tina with like Alice and Shane and everyone, and then with Bette I would just prefer to see maybe like a bit of work and stuff like that. But again, I want her like in the group. I want her with her friends. And we all know Bette Porter is her own fucking worst enemy. But I would like to see some wins for Bette this season. So next up is Alice. And we absolutely know that Nat and Tom are back this season. They have been trying to keep Tom on the DL, but oopsie, someone slipped up and posted a video yesterday from the set.
Well, if it isn't Jason Christ himself. Jason and Joseph.
And Donald and Leisha accidentally like walk behind, and I don't think they realized that that is what happened. So Tom then, after people figured it out, then Tom posted from his trailer. I'm saying Tom, Donald posted from his trailer. I don't think that he said exactly the show, but obviously because we saw the video, we know he's on the L Word set. And no idea on how many episodes Donald's in or how many Stephanie Allen is in, so we will have to wait and see. But I know they could be using Nat just as like Gigi's ex-wife, so we'll have to see what's going on there, because we do know there is at least like a Nat and Gigi scene with that ambulance that we saw, so Nat could be being used just in that way. I do think that they left things kind of open-ended, even though they did have that kind of like little back together thing last season. I do really like Donald Faison on the show. I like the character of Tom, and I think it's an interesting angle to bring him in, and especially with a character like Alice, who is obviously like a celebrity within the show and so well known. I'm interested to see what happens, and if there is another person that's brought in, because some of the things that Leisha said in the beginning on Pants made me think that there is another person in like Alice's dating sphere. And Alice in like her personal life, I really want to see more of the show. I want to see, I mean, I've mentioned a lot that I thought it would be really cool if when Alice was away on her book tour that they had someone else, like maybe someone younger, person who's like TikTok famous or something like that, that they come in and host the show, and Alice has to deal with like this 20 something who's come in and like got higher ratings than her, and it could be something like that. But I do want to see more within the Alice show, and I understand they couldn't do that because of season 2 being filmed during COVID and all that stuff. So I hope we see more of that. I want to see more of Celebrity Alice, and of course the same thing as I mentioned with Bette and Tina, more group scenes, more fun. So Dani and Gigi, my loves, we haven't got too much info on them, and I do think this is more to do with the fact I'm pretty sure their social media is being managed by a social media manager or their agent or something like that. Don't worry, they're all going to be in the season. They have contracts for these things, and if they have other projects or they want to do promotion for those projects, they can ride around them. It's not a big deal. It's an ensemble show and they'll be in all the episodes, don't worry. So getting into what we're gonna see, I really hope they don't start this whole nightmare for Dani and Gigi and are they going to split up or anything like that. I think there is going to be enough drama around like what's going on with Dani and her dad and her company and her career, because that's such like a big important part of her life, that they should just make Gigi the dependable, I'm so glad I have you girlfriend that's just there for her, and that is the really good aspect of her life, and then everything else can be a mess. But I hope that they keep them good and together, and I would really love if this season we just see them like, because again they've only been going out for like a few weeks, but if we see over the course of the season them getting closer, and I would love for the last episode to have like some sort of proposal or something like that. So that's what I'm hoping for with them. As I said, I don't like this whole angle of them being ostracized and Gigi being like randomly hated by everyone. I hope that they fix all of that, and I hope we just get even more Dani and Gigi in season 3, because of course they didn't know how much everyone was going to love this, or all the Dani and Gigi fans are going to love this. So I hope we just get even more of them this season. So Shane and Tess, and we know that Jamie Clayton has been bumped up to series regular, which well deserved. I hope this means that we're going to get a bit more meat for Shane and Tess this season. I did like where it started with the whole poker thing, but after a few episodes it just got dropped and it went in kind of an odd direction. Like I really thought they were building something with like maybe Eddie becoming like this, you know, rival for them and coming in again. But we know Sherry Jaffe is also coming back too, so they could be working in some sort of poker business angle again, because I hope that it's not some sort of romantic thing with them. I hope it's more like, oh, this could be a business thing, because I'm assuming Sherry Jaffe's like super loaded after she got divorced. Tessa's mum is going to be on the show, we know, so again I'm hoping they're fleshing her character out more, getting a bit more to know her, and I just really want a solid storyline for them this season, because I really feel that there wasn't one too much last season. Like again, I liked where they were going in the beginning, but it just got a bit dropped, and by the finale there was some things just not like, they didn't have a cohesive sort of thread throughout the whole season, and that along with fun and everybody being friends and happy, I would really like to see just something you can follow all the way through, where you could look at the first episode and the last episode and be like, okay, I see the journey we went on, I see the storyline, what happened, and I think Shane and Tess are definitely in need of that. Finley and Sophie. Now this can go in kind of two different ways, because I think they're in danger of kind of, I've used this word a few times, but ostracizing Finley and Sophie, because now that they don't have the Dani connection and we don't really know what's going on with Micah and Maribel, they do have obviously Sophie working for Alice, so if they're building out the Alice show like more, they can bring them in that way. And it'll be interesting to see what Finley does, because I assume like pretty quick she's going to come out of rehab, because we know like a little bit of time is going to have passed. So it'll be really interesting to see where they place her. I would love to see her go back to Alice's show and to work on the set, and I think that she suits that job really well because she seemed to just really enjoy it and really shine. Like, you know, she was everybody's like fixer, and I think that Alice really loved her too. And now there isn't that, you know, issue with Sophie, then I don't see any reason for why she couldn't go back. And it makes sense then, if they're both working there, that they can kind of build them out, like how Sophie went to the poker game with Alice, like they're coming in more as Alice's friends, and then obviously hopefully Dani and Bette make up, and then Gigi's kind of in the group again, as long as they don't do what they were doing and making everyone hate Gigi for no reason. I do hope they go a bit easier on Sophie this season, because I feel like season 1 was really about her and she was nearly the main character, but season 2 they had some things just happen or things that she did that really seemed like she was some sort of villain in the season. So I hope that they just again adjust and realign and get them in a better place. And obviously it's going to be still a lot of work for Finley and a kind of new world of her being sober, so we'll see how their relationship changes now that Finley hopefully is sober. But I do think that also is a much needed storyline in a show like this, because as we know, like the statistics for people in our communities suffering from substance abuse is very, very high. And I think that it's great to see someone going through this process on the show. So I am looking forward to seeing it. Micah and Maribel still seem to be like a together couple, because there's been a lot of posts of them on social media and like calling each other like work wife and work husband, which I think is cute. I hope that they do something with Micah this season and give him a proper storyline. I'm all for bringing Micah in different ways. Like, you know, they had the thing with the therapy and stuff like that, but again, like that was dropped as well. So there has to be some sort of cohesive reason. Otherwise, people feel as though it's pushed as well. So give Micah a storyline, give him something to do, and not just kind of adding him to group scenes. And I will be interested to see what happens with Micah and Maribel too, because as we know, I think Maribel said she was moving somewhere and it wasn't really talked about apart from in one of like a line in one of the Spanish scenes. So maybe that'll be what they're dealing with this season. But I like both the actors, and I think that they just need more to do, and people would rather them have some sort of cohesive storyline and be doing something rather than just be like tacked on somewhere else. So hopefully we see more of them this season, and especially the group scenes. I want to see everybody happy, having fun, like in the OG. That's definitely the thing that I miss the most.
What you doing, Rodeo Drive?
Shopping, bitch. Losing. What?
You're scaring me.
Call in.
I do feel like they are going somewhere with that, because we've seen a lot of like even on Pants, Leisha and Kate and other people through Instagram stories and things talking about how much fun they've had on season and how much is going on. We do apparently have some sort of musical and then also some sort of 1940s, 60s, 80s game show. I don't know what's going on, but there's some interesting stuff happening for sure. One thing that I think is boding very well is that they seem to have just a handful, not even a handful, a few directors that are doing multiple episodes, because M. Weinstein, who directed some of A League of Their Own, they are directing, I think they just added 2 more. So I think they're doing 4 episodes. And I know Catrielle Kindred, who did episode 6 last season, she's doing episodes 1 and 2. And then she has said in an Instagram comment, like she's coming back. So I think this looks really good, because Catrielle directed the 6th episode, which was great, and M. Weinstein directed League of Their Own, which everybody seems to have loved. So they are good people. And also when there is a batch of episodes with the same directors and it is mostly the same directors over a season, it helps with that kind of tone and mood and just general direction, believe it or not. So I hope that means that things are just going to flow better. And as I said, that kind of thread of all the storylines too. We do have a lot of guest stars, and I am really looking forward to what everyone's bringing to the show. As I said on my live stream too, I really hope that we have some OGs back. I think that they would be really missing a trick if they didn't bring Rose Rollins, who played Tasha, back. Like, she's in LA, I'm sure she would do the show. And I do think Daniel C is coming back to play Max, as I did another video on recently. There's a couple of other people that I hope to see back, and I'm just going to cross my fingers there. But this is mostly what I want to see in season 3. I mean, the friendships, the fun, the silly, stealing the sign and all that stuff. I just want that in the show.
How do you know?
Same way you know you don't like fucking scallops, Gary. I tried it once and it wasn't for me.
And some more kind of lightheartedness and all of the group scenes and things like that. So hopefully we also get our wishes with all our favorite couples. And let me know down in the comment section what you want to see in season 3. Make sure you follow me on social media to stay up to date with absolutely everything on Generation Q season 3. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.